Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with a Senna commentary guide. Now as you guys know, Senna just got buffed in patch 4.0b, I think it is the patch. Yeah, 4.0b, Senna just got buffed just a couple of hours ago. Now this is my first match on Senna in the new patch. And initially, I intended for this to actually be a supplementary guide, but this is the first match I actually played on Senna, so I'm not quite familiar with her like damage and her build yet. I'm going for this like full damage build. I'll talk a little bit about it later, but first up I want to talk about laning. So here you guys can see I'm actually stepping up to harass the Draven. Look at the health trait by me and the Draven. Like, Draven's at about half health and I'm still almost full. Of course with the Yuumi he kind of heals up a little bit. But look here, I'm stepping forward, trading onto the Draven. Here I proc Kraken Slayer again. He's back to like 1/3 health. So the thing about Senna against Draven is Senna has a range advantage against Draven. Senna has about Ashe's range and Draven has like a standard ADC's range, and this allows me to just step up and poke. Let's look at this. He's low now. Here I hit level 2, I flash forward and go for the root. I exhaust him, he exhausts me. Unfortunately I do die to Yuumi's ignite eventually, but overall it's a 1-for-1 trade where Tristana gets the kill. Whereas on our side, Yuumi gets the kill. Here, Tristana's gonna get another kill onto Yuumi because of the fact that Yuumi's trying to dive the tower. So overall, it just works out pretty beautifully. But yeah, so in this video, in this game, you guys can see that we have actually a relatively suitable team for Senna. So here we have Tristana ADC, but we do have Karma mid with heal, so she's kind of pretty supportive. We have Jax in the top lane for like some frontline slash CC and sometimes split pushing. And we have a Nautilus in the jungle just for like general tankiness and engage. So in this case, I have a pretty nice team comp to play Senna. Now here, basically I have no idea what I'm doing here. I have no reason to step up to the wave. Here I just instantly get solo killed by the Draven. Honestly, as I mentioned, there's no reason for me to step up to the wave. Senna doesn't want to farm. Senna doesn't necessarily even want to poke the Draven because Tristana's not here, so I can't actually get any stacks of my support item. Anyways, the only thing I can really get is like a little bit of poke damage and a little bit of maybe like one missed stack of the Draven. So really I had no reason to step up there. That's kind of a really stupid mistake on my part. So you know, don't do that. Don't be like me. But yeah, you know, I haven't played Senna in like months, so like I'm just, I guess, not very used to it, and like I just randomly step up to Draven and just die. And yeah, so anyways, we won't be doing that anymore, but still we do want to play aggressive here. As you guys can see, by playing aggressive with our maximum range, we should be able to get in attacks on Draven when Draven cannot attack us. So here anyways, I get the root and exhaust onto the Draven. Here you can see Tristana's pop is able to actually kill the Draven. I wanted to actually take the plant there, but here I was seeing if we had any potential to do any kind of meaningful damage to Yuumi. But unfortunately that is not at all the case. Now here I still have 2 stacks of support items, so here I'm just trying to attack either the tower or attack Yuumi to try to proc my item. And I am able to actually get down a combo onto the Yuumi. So I haven't really mentioned what like runes and items I'm running, but for the runes, you guys can see I take Kraken Slayer, which is why I got really good early game damage. Now Senna is actually deceptively strong in the early game. She hasn't scaled yet, but her Kraken Slayer damage and just like her general range makes her pretty formidable in the laning phase. And I also have Brutal, so my basic attacks is going to do a little bit of extra AD damage against champions. So that is you know, really helpful, especially after they buffed Brutal a couple of patches ago. And for my build, especially because I'm playing like in solo queue, you guys can see this is legendary rank. I want to be in a position to carry the game, so I'm really going for like a full like damage Senna, no like Black Cleaver, no like Defiant Thunderer. I'm getting like my mana immune and like lethality items. So when it comes to the build, I'm gonna be releasing a future video on a Senna supplementary guide on a full damage Senna, especially now with the slow on her Q. You need even less. You're even less forced to buy that like utility, so I'm gonna definitely make a video on that. But for now, briefly, what I built in this match is I built myself the mana immune, and then I also went for the Executioner's Calling, because obviously there's a Yuumi in this match. Also there's like Graves and Draven, both of them heal a lot as well, so I went for the Executioner's Calling early. Then I went into the Edge of Night, And afterwards, I went for like Zhonya's Hourglass. Now, of course, as I mentioned, I want to be the carry, so I'm not going for the Protect enchant. I'm going for the Zhonya's because I don't want Kha'Zix to sneak up behind me and just one-shot me. I don't actually end up using Zhonya's this entire match, but I still think that that was the right choice because if Kha'Zix ever got onto me, there was nowhere I was going to survive without the Zhonya's Hourglass. And also another interesting thing to note is I actually have Exhaust. Now, I have Exhaust because, number one, because there are multiple people that can be exhausted, like Graves, like, you know, Draven, Garen, and Kha'Zix all are good exhaust targets. Pretty much their entire team are good exhaust targets. And number two, like I mentioned, it's solo queue, so I'm playing a little bit more selfishly where heal helps my Tristana or whoever is with me more than it actually helps me. Whereas the exhaust, you know, is gonna help me survive. So, you know, in solo queue especially, sometimes it is really just about you know, me. Like, I want to survive, I want to carry, and you're the only person you can really rely on is yourself. So sometimes you do have to take the more selfish options than, you know, playing for the team. Of course, sometimes you do have to play for your team as well. Now here I'm taking a lot of damage from Draven. I do get the I actually don't get the exhaust. I managed to flash out. Now unfortunately, Draven is out of range this entire time for me to exhaust. So I end up dying and Tristana ends up following suit. Really unlucky there, could not trade onto the Draven. Of course, the Yuumi was able to proc her passive, and because of that, she did actually allow Draven to survive. So really lucky on their part. And yeah, just kind of bad on my part. Again, I'm playing a little bit too overly aggressive, but this time, you know, I had my Tristana with me. I thought it would be fine. Here I'm trying to help Jax with his tower dive effort, but in the end, he kind of ends up disengaging, and they both survive. So now I'm just going to hit that into the lane. Now here I could have taken the cannon, but I kind of just rather get the stack. So I just take the stack instead of getting the gold. Because Tristana couldn't actually reach there anyways. So here remember to ping that the enemies are missing just in case they are roaming. And yeah, so here again I have full stacks of support item. I kind of want to proc it onto the tower like that if possible. Here I get a couple procs into Draven, and I do get my exhaust this time. I have no idea what that giant burst was. I mean, I guess that was a Draven auto attack, but wow, that was a lot of damage. Anyways, here I can pick up the fruit and I can use my Q to heal myself up. So it's not too big of a deal, get myself to a pretty healthy state again, and we're fine. So here again, max range auto attack means that Lucian should never be able to reach me when I'm auto attacking him, unless he's already posturing forward and walking forward to actually attack me himself. Anyways, here Nautilus is in the area, so I'm walking forward to control ward the bush, make sure there's no vision there. Here we can possibly set up a dive onto the Draven. Tristana kind of bombs the minions, which is not very ideal because we need the bomb for the damage. Here I get the root onto the Draven, I ult to follow up, and Nautilus, you know, hits all his CC on the Draven. Yuumi gets CC'd as well, and Yuumi goes down. So we are able to get the kill onto the enemy bot lane. And here we're just getting some tower damage. Kha'Zix and Garen are trying to defend their tower, but we have 4 people here against 2. So this is a possible fight. I try to blind root over the wall, ends up hitting a minion. Thought I actually hit the Garen there. Unfortunately, that was simply the next minion wave. So here Kha'Zix is in trouble. Here I randomly launch a W at the general vicinity, and I actually end up hitting the invis Kha'Zix and actually end up killing him. So here Garen tries to turn and go back onto us. Unfortunately, it does not quite work. I pick up the double, and Draven is back into the picture, but he obviously realizes he's not going to be able to 1v4. Wisely flashes out of the way. Alright, so here, now that, you know, we've gotten back that bunch of kills. Now I'm 3, 3, and 4, doing pretty well. As I mentioned, we have, of course, our support item Spectral Sickle. We have the Manamune, and of course we have our Maul Reminder, which is not Maul Reminder, we have our Executioner's Calling, which is what is helping us to cut the Yuumi and everyone else's healing as well, Draven's healing, etc. And now we have ourselves the Zhonya's Hourglass, and I actually went for the movement speed boots in this match, since we're not going for like Black Cleaver anymore, when we don't get the Rage passive, and I find that that movement speed passive on Senna is actually really helpful for you to either chase or to run. Like, it's just really good in general, so I love taking those boots on Senna when I go for this build. Alright, so now here, honestly, because we took top tower, I've gone mid, which is what the support normally does, but the ADC normally goes back to top to like clear wave and farm. But for some reason Tristana just goes straight to the Herald. and because of that, Draven actually gets a free tower. Now here the enemy Herald is here, but Tristana and Nautilus are pretty much just ignoring the fact that this Herald is about to crash into our tower. They're instead going to take the second Herald of the game. So it's up to me, the lowly support, to like clear this Herald basically. As you guys can see, we do manage to indeed do so without the Herald actually crashing. Pretty lucky that our minion wave actually came in time to prevent the Herald from crashing. And I finally managed to get my support item to the maximum amount of stacks just from like the passive gold game. So here we spot a random Garen in the bush, and here we're just clearing out the enemy's control ward. Here Kha'Zix gets ulted by the Karma. Garen tries to go in, and here I'm basically just blasting Garen. Here I ult across, trying to basically snipe the Kha'Zix there, but I end up not really hitting him. But either way, you know, the ult for the shield is still really good usage of the ultimate. So here we have the Mana Mune evolved into the Mirror Mana. I place the control ward into the pit to spot out the enemy ward and destroy it as well. And here now we can turn on to the dragon. With the Garen dead, we have a pretty massive advantage. Draven tries to steal it with the ulti but does not quite connect, and we are able to easily pick up the dragon. Alright, so now we have the maxed out support item and we have the Mana Mune. Now we're going to of course build the Dirk, which is going to eventually build into our Agent Knight. But what I want you guys to pay attention here is later on you will see in the damage stats at the end of the match that I actually end up doing the most damage in the game. Now most people have the perception that Senna is a very late game champion. Now that is true. Senna is really strong in the late game, but the catch that a lot of people don't know about is that actually her early and mid game aren't that weak. Like I already demonstrated just now, how Senna's early game is actually pretty strong when I'm fighting a Draven. Like how many people could just stand up there and just walk up and attack the Draven. Now I did die like once or twice because of that, but that's because I misplayed. But if I played properly, I could have done that without actually dying to the Draven. So I pretty much demonstrated her strong early game, and you can pretty much see her like strong mid game. Now I'm basically just at one item is like at the mid game, support item plus like one full item, so pretty much at like 1.5 items maybe. Here I'll also give the Jax the shield, and here we summon Herald to try to take the mid lane tower. Garen for some reason decides to walk up into all three of us even though he can see us, but because Tristana kind of messed up there, we end up not getting the kill onto Garen. Nautilus hook goes wide, and here we're just trying to push in onto like the inhibitor area. So of course it's really hard to push in with the entire enemy team defending, so Jax is going to the top lane to split push. Now initially I think our better play was to just all stay mid to create pressure in the mid lane, but because Karma and Tristana are roaming up, I cannot stay in the mid lane by myself, so I will have no choice but to simply follow them to the top lane. Now it's good that I did that, because turns out a fight is about to break out. I see Graves coming. I'm basically just going to turn onto the Graves. You guys can see that I do really good damage. I exhaust the Graves as well. Here of course I was kind of nearsighted by that Graves W, but of course in the replay you can't really see that. Anyways, here we actually managed to get both kills, and here we're on the chase for the Yuumi. Nautilus actually manages to connect with the depth charge, and because of that, Yuumi gets hooked and Yuumi goes down as well. So pretty nice sequence of events there, where our rotation allowed us to get a lot of DPS and cut off the Graves. Speaking of which, Graves has respawned again. Nautilus hits all his CC. I hit the ulti on the Graves as well. Nautilus is tanking the tower for days, and we are able to easily pick up the kill onto the Graves. Now I don't know about you guys, but I find this walking animation by Nautilus pretty weird, like to see. Like I know he's supposed to be astronaut, so he's supposed to be like floating in the air, but I kind of think that the animation on Nautilus is really weird. Anyways, here we're gonna steal the enemy blue buff, and because of the buff sharing, I get myself, not enemy blue buff, enemy red buff. Because of the buff sharing, I get a red buff for myself as well. So here I can back, and I can pick up my Agent Knight. So of course this gives me not just damage, but it also gives me like health and safety. Now health and safety on Senna is really good. Like the extra health actually helps you a lot, because Senna is very squishy, and of course the extra lethality and that spell shield is also really helpful. Alright, so now nothing too much is happening. Now we can see that Garen, Draven, and Yuumi are at the top lane. So here what we are actually doing is we're gonna actually start Baron now. But the reason why we're doing this is because we have vision of 3 of them in the top lane. We can see Graves in the mid lane as well. So they all aren't really in a position to help. Now the flip side of this is our Nautilus is not actually with us. So this is really dangerous. If Nautilus was with us, this is pretty much a free Baron. But because Nautilus is not with us, you guys can see Jax gets himself in a position to cut off the enemy team. who is coming to contest. Of course, Graves here is not the jungler. The jungler is Kha'Zix. We don't know where Kha'Zix is. There he is. He just showed up. But anyways, here Jax gives chase. So here I'm following him in, because if we don't help Jax, Jax can easily die to Kha'Zix because he's isolated. Anyways, here you guys can see, look at this damage on Draven from Senna. By the way, look at that damage. Look at the insane damage onto the Draven. That's what Senna can do. And here Garen goes down to the Tristana bomb. Here, honestly, I don't know what we're doing here, but Nautilus is just straight up just tanking the tower, using Karma shields and his own shields, and we basically take the tower without even having minions. It makes no sense, but yeah, we basically end up just taking the tower without even having minions. Of course, with the Baron buff, after getting all those kills and the mid lane inhibitor, we can actually reset. Now here I'm actually trying to complete my Mono Reminder, because of course the Garen is especially tanky, so I do want to be able to, like, you know, get some nice armor penetration in my build. And yeah, but we're not going to talk about what we're going to build after that, because we're not actually going to get to there. We're going to discuss more about it when we talk about it in the Senna supplementary guide. So anyways, here the final dragon is up, and we do have double dragons. So going for that triple dragon, it should be free, because we can see basically anyone other than the Kha'Zix is not even coming to try and contest. Kha'Zix ends up actually trying to trap for Kama, but doesn't really work out, and instead Garen pays the price for their mistakes. And here Kha'Zix is getting chased. We still have the Baron buff, so Graves is being kept busy by Jax and Nautilus. Here, using our Baron buff, we're gonna simply just easily push down this top lane inhibitor. Kha'Zix is actually back, and I actually ult across, which does really decent damage, and now we can simply just proceed on to end the game without any fuss. So anyways, there we have it. I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Now pay close attention to the fact that a mid-game Senna has done the most damage in the game. Now this really shows you that if you play Senna properly, and if you go for like a carry-oriented kind of build, you can really do a lot of damage. And look at my damage compared to Tristana's damage, for example, as you guys will see in a couple of seconds. But aside from that, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and bye.